Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, the world knows him as NBA YoungBoy, just faced his final reckoning. We aren't talking about a probation violation. We aren't talking about a 90-day stint. We're talking about a sentence so massive, so soul-crushing, that it has effectively ended the career of the most iconic rapper of this generation. Silence took over the room as the judge looked NBA YoungBoy dead in the eyes and handed him a sentence that didn't just take his years, it took his future. But the real heartbreak? It wasn't the handcuffs. It was the gut-wrenching, primal collapse of his mother, Sherhonda Gaulden. Insiders inside the courtroom say the moment the judge uttered the words, "life without the possibility of parole," the room didn't just go cold, it shattered. Sherhonda didn't just cry. She broke down in a way that terrified everyone present, screaming goodbye forever as her son was shackled and dragged into the shadows. What did the feds find that we didn't know? Why did his inner circle suddenly vanish the moment the hammer dropped? Stay tuned, because what I'm about to reveal about the secret evidence and the final words YoungBoy whispered to his mother will change everything you thought you knew about this case. To understand why this goodbye forever feels so final, we have to look back at the trail of wreckage and the toxic intersection of fame and the federal legal system that led Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden to this concrete cage. NBA YoungBoy wasn't just a rapper. He was a walking, breathing lightning rod for chaos, a man whose life story reads more like a war manual than a biography. To the world, he's a superstar with billions of views, but to the United States Department of Justice, he was a target they've been tracking since he was barely old enough to drive. The background of this tragedy didn't start in a courtroom. It started on the rough, unforgiving streets of the south side of Baton Rouge. This is a city that doesn't just produce rappers. It produces statistics. By the age of 15, while most kids were worrying about high school, Kentrell was already deeply embedded in the system. His first robbery charge wasn't just a mistake. It was the foundation of a rap career built entirely on the pain, the betrayal, and the paranoia of a life spent looking over his shoulder. He famously spent 6 months in a Tallulah, Louisiana detention center, where he founded the Never Broke Again imprint, a name that, in light of today's sentencing, carries a haunting irony. But while the music industry saw a gold mine, the feds saw a pattern. Since 2016, the legal file on NBA YoungBoy has grown into a massive mountain of evidence. It started with a Kentucky street shooting, a drive-by that police claimed was a retaliatory act for the death of his cousin. That was the moment law enforcement in Louisiana realized that the violence surrounding Kentrell and his NBA crew was cyclical, escalating, and, most importantly, documented on camera. Every time he dropped a music video like Chopper City or Untouchable, the feds weren't just watching as fans. They were watching as investigators, analyzing every frame, every firearm, and every associate standing in the background. The conflict between his personal life and his professional success became inevitable. For years, we've watched a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. He was arrested at a concert in Austin, Texas. He was ambushed in a targeted assassination attempt outside the Trump International Hotel in Miami on Mother's Day, where an innocent bystander paid the ultimate price. He was chased through the streets of Los Angeles in a Maybach, leading the FBI on a high-speed pursuit that ended in a foot chase. Every time, it seemed like the Untouchable moniker was real. Every time, he walked away with a slap on the wrist, a suspended sentence, or an acquittal. But while the fans cheered, his mother, Sherhonda Gaulden, lived in a state of perpetual panic. Insider reports from the family suggest that Sherhonda has spent the last decade in a state of mourning before the death even occurred. She's seen the homies come and go. She's seen the record labels profit off her son's legal battles, marketing his bad boy image to the masses while he spiraled further into a legal abyss. She knew that the grace period offered by the courts wouldn't last forever. She saw the betrayal coming from within the Never Broke Again camp long before the secret witnesses ever took the stand. There has always been a dark irony in his story. He signed a 5-album, multi-million-dollar deal with Atlantic Records while facing attempted murder charges. He became one of the most successful artists on the planet while wearing an ankle monitor on house arrest in Utah. But the background of this case isn't just about music. It's about a simmering feud between the NBA and TBG groups, a war that has left bodies in multiple states and has now finally claimed the freedom of its biggest star. The feds didn't just stumble upon this final case. They've been building a master file that supposedly links YoungBoy to activities that go far beyond a simple gun charge. We're talking about alleged links to a massive drug distribution network and internal street politics that reached a boiling point in late 2024. The tension in the courtroom today was the result of 10 years of built-up pressure. The feds were tired of the miracle acquittals. They were tired of the high-priced lawyers beating the system. They wanted a permanent solution, and they found it in a way that shattered Sherhonda's heart into a million pieces. This drama was bound to explode. You can't live at that frequency, with that much heat, for that long without the walls closing in. The inevitable collision between the king of YouTube and the federal government has finally happened, and as we look at the wreckage, the only thing left standing is a grieving mother and a goodbye that echoes through the halls of justice. But what was the secret evidence that finally broke the untouchable streak? Why did his mother scream those specific words, "Goodbye forever"? Stay with me, because as we move into the first major twist of the trial, you're going to realize that the betrayal came from someone YoungBoy trusted with his life. The atmosphere inside the Baton Rouge federal courthouse wasn't just tense, it was radioactive. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. The final showdown between the United States government and the untouchable King of the South. NBA YoungBoy sat at the defense table, stone-faced, his eyes hidden behind a mask of cold indifference. But the people in the gallery knew better. You could see the slight tremor in his hands. You could see his mother, Sherhonda Gaulden, clutching a rosary so tight her knuckles were white. This wasn't just a trial. It was a funeral for a career. The conflict erupted the second the lead prosecutor stood up and addressed the judge. They didn't lead with the old gun charges or the probation violations we've heard about for years. No, they opened a black leather folder and dropped a bombshell that silenced every person in that room. They revealed that for the past 18 months, while YoungBoy was on house arrest in Utah, the FBI had successfully placed a deep cover informant inside his inner circle. We aren't talking about a random security guard or a distant associate. We are talking about someone who lived in his house, someone who ate at his table, and someone who knew the location of every single never broke again safe house in the country. The prosecution didn't just have theories, they had the hard drive. They allegedly produced a decrypted external drive containing thousands of encrypted messages sent through an app YoungBoy thought was untraceable. The messages didn't just discuss music or tours. They discussed tactical operations. They discussed moving millions of dollars in untraceable cash through shell companies. But the biggest revelation? The drive contained a high-definition video of a secret meeting held just weeks ago. In the video, a man appearing to be YoungBoy is seen handing a duffel bag to a known street figure, allegedly in exchange for a permanent solution to a long-standing feud. Sherhonda's reaction was immediate. She stood up and yelled, "That's a lie. You're framing my son." The judge slammed the gavel, threatening to clear the court, but the damage was done. The tension was at a breaking point. YoungBoy's lead attorney, James Manasseh, scrambled to file a motion to suppress the evidence, claiming it was an illegal search and seizure. But then came the first massive twist, the one that effectively ended the trial before the jury even deliberated. The side door of the courtroom opened, and a secret witness was brought in under heavy armed guard. Their face was completely obscured by a black tactical hood. The room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. When the witness took the stand and removed the hood, the entire NBA camp gasped in unison. Some of his closest friends reportedly started crying right there in the gallery. It was a man YoungBoy had called his brother for life, a day one associate who had been in every music video, every shootout, and every celebration since 2016. This Judas didn't just testify. He produced a handwritten hit list that he claimed YoungBoy had written while in a fit of rage during his Utah house arrest. The list didn't just have names of rival rappers like Lil Durk or TBG members. It had the names of internal rats, people within NBA who YoungBoy allegedly suspected of snitching. The witness claimed that YoungBoy had placed bounties on his own people, creating a culture of fear that forced his closest allies to turn to the feds for protection. The betrayal was so deep, so personal, that YoungBoy reportedly looked at the witness and whispered one word. Why? The witness didn't look back. They just kept reading from the ledger, detailing dates, amounts, and specific instructions for eliminations. Sherhonda's screams began to echo through the hallway as she realized the betrayal came from the very people she had welcomed into her home. She saw the "goodbye forever" written on the wall. But as the prosecution rested their case for the day, a leaked memo from the court clerk's office suggests that this hit list isn't the most dangerous piece of evidence. There's a rumor circulating that the feds have a second informant, someone even closer to the family than the man on the stand. Who could it be? And what does it have to do with this safe house YoungBoy allegedly mentioned in his final whispered conversation with his mother? The cliffhanger is real, and the next revelation will make this look like child's play. The courtroom betrayal was just the beginning of a nightmare that has now engulfed the entire music industry. As the secret witness finished his testimony, the shockwaves didn't just stay inside those four walls. They hit the internet like a digital tsunami. Within minutes, the hashtag #NBAJudas was trending globally, and the NBA fanbase was in a state of absolute, violent denial. But while the fans were fighting in the comments, the music industry, the same industry that milked NBA YoungBoy for billions of streams, began a cold, calculated purge. A leaked internal memo, allegedly from a top-tier streaming platform, sent a shiver down the spine of every independent artist in the game. The memo reportedly read, "Effective immediately, all flagship playlisting for NBA YoungBoy is to be phased out. Cease all marketing for upcoming Never Broke Again projects. The liability has exceeded the asset value." This is the industry blackball in its most ruthless form. We're seeing rappers who featured on his albums, big names who called him twin and brother, quietly deleting their Instagram posts with him. The betrayal isn't just in the courtroom, it's in the boardroom. But just when you thought the hit list was the peak of the drama, the second twist dropped. And this one is so dark it makes the first witness look like a distraction. As the trial resumed after a tense lunch break, the prosecution dropped a bombshell that turned Sherhonda Gaulden's grief into pure, unadulterated terror. They produced a series of encrypted cloud backups from a phone that didn't belong to YoungBoy, but to a second informant. And this informant wasn't just a friend or a street associate. The feds revealed that they had been receiving live audio feeds from a listening device planted inside the very safe house where YoungBoy was serving his Utah house arrest. The revelation? The second informant is allegedly a high-ranking member of the Never Broke Again security team, someone who had access to YoungBoy's children, his private conversations, and his most vulnerable moments. The leaked transcripts from these recordings are chilling. In one recording, a voice allegedly belonging to Cantrell is heard crying, not out of aggression, but out of a deep realization that he was being set up by the very grown-ups in the industry who claimed to be protecting him. The shocker? The feds aren't just targeting YoungBoy. They used his house arrest as a honeypot to trap several high-profile music executives and even a major industry mogul, whose name we all know. The theory circulating in the deep web forums is that YoungBoy was offered a plea of a lifetime to flip on the entire industry, but he refused to rat on the people who raised him. So, the feds decided to bury him instead. Sherhonda's reaction to this was a state of catatonic shock. She realized that the security she thought was protecting her son was actually the feds' eyes and ears inside their home. A leaked social media post from a verified Baton Rouge insider claimed, "The feds didn't catch YB. They bought his circle. They've been living in his pockets for 2 years." As the judge ordered a total communications blackout for YoungBoy, banning him from even writing letters to his children, the industry backlash reached a fever pitch. A major rival rapper allegedly posted a video of themselves laughing while the sentence was being read, only to have their own house raided by the FBI just hours later. The war is spreading. The feds aren't just taking the king, they're taking the whole board. And as YoungBoy was loaded into a high-security government transport, not a standard prison bus, he reportedly whispered one final, cryptic message to his legal team. "Tell my mom to check the floorboards in the Utah house." What is under those floorboards? Is it money? Or is it the evidence that will take down the entire rap industry with him? The countdown to the final revelation has begun, and no one is safe. The fallout from the Life plus 50 sentence didn't just stay in Louisiana. It triggered a global digital war. Within minutes, the internet fractured into two violent factions. On one side, the NBA 4L fanbase is in a state of absolute revolt. We're seeing reports of free top protests breaking out from the streets of Baton Rouge to the blocks of Atlanta. Fans are burning their Atlantic Records merchandise on TikTok, claiming the feds used YoungBoy as a sacrificial lamb to distract from the real criminals in the music industry. The comment sections are a battlefield, with millions of 38 Baby loyalists swearing that the secret witness was coached by the FBI to lie. But on the other side, the celebration is just as loud. The Justice for the Streets crowd is flooding Twitter with karma memes, pointing to the trail of bodies and the Mother's Day massacre as proof that Kentrell finally got what he deserved. They are calling it the end of the chaos era. The division is so toxic that several major hip-hop forums had to shut down their servers due to death threats being traded between rival fan bases. The industry reaction, however, has been the coldest part of this tragedy. The industry purge is real. Major rappers who were featured on YoungBoy's last 3 projects, guys who called him family in every interview, have gone completely silent. A leaked group chat, allegedly between 3 A-list West Coast rappers, shows them discussing how to distantiate themselves from the NBA brand to avoid being caught in a potential RICO sweep. The Brotherhood was a business, and business is closed. Wack 100 went on a 3-hour, no-jumper emergency session, claiming he warned YoungBoy's team months ago. "You can't play chess with the feds when you're playing checkers with your life," he told 50,000 live viewers. Meanwhile, a cryptic post from a major industry mogul simply featured a black square with a caption, "The marathon continues, but some runners trip over their own shadows." The most heartbreaking reaction? A leaked photo of Sherhonda Gaulden's house being surrounded by private security. Rumors are swirling that she has been excommunicated by the very people who are supposed to protect the family. The industry has turned its back. The fans are fighting for a ghost, and the only person left truly mourning is the woman who screamed goodbye forever in that cold, gray courtroom. But as the public argues, a new leak from a Utah prison official suggests that the floorboard secret is already being hunted by the feds. As the cell door slammed shut on Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, the world thought the story was over. But in the dark, digital underbelly of the rap game, a new nightmare was just beginning. Remember the final words YoungBoy whispered to his legal team? "Tell my mom to check the floorboards in the Utah house." Well, it turns out the feds weren't the only ones listening. Less than 2 hours after the Life plus 50 sentence was read, a high-speed, Black Ops-style raid hit the Utah mansion where YoungBoy spent his house arrest. But it wasn't the FBI. Witnesses reported seeing 4 blacked-out SUVs with no license plates storm the property, neutralizing the private security and tearing through the master bedroom. They were looking for the insurance policy. The major twist? According to a leaked report from a private investigator on the scene, what was hidden under those floorboards wasn't just cash or a hit list. It was a series of encrypted blackmail hard drives containing high-definition footage of several major music executives, A-list rappers, and even a global icon, allegedly engaging in illegal activities inside YoungBoy's home. The theory? YoungBoy wasn't just a rapper. He was a collector. He knew the industry was a snake pit, so he recorded every conversation, every transaction, and every secret deal for the last 3 years. But here is the kicker that will chill your blood. The hard drives were empty. A leaked message from a deep web hacker claims that the files were automatically cloud uploaded to a secret server the second the judge signed the sentencing order. And the password to that server? It's allegedly encoded in the lyrics of YoungBoy's final, unreleased song, a track titled The Last Goodbye. Sherhonda Gaulden's Goodbye Forever wasn't just a cry of grief, it was a signal. The feds think they have him caged, but the industry is now in a state of absolute, shivering panic. If that server goes live, Life plus 50 will be the least of the world's problems. We are talking about a total music industry collapse. The final cliffhanger? A grainy photo has surfaced from a secret military hospital showing a man with the exact same neck tattoos as YoungBoy being loaded onto a stretcher. The caption reads, "He didn't make it to the first night. The contract has been fulfilled." Is YoungBoy really dead? Or is this the greatest witness protection escape in history? And who is the music icon that was caught on camera under those Utah floorboards? The clock is ticking, and the industry is burning. We are tracking the server upload as we speak. This is the end of an era, but the beginning of a war. Was NBA YoungBoy a victim of a corrupt industry, or did the streets finally collect their debt? And the biggest question of all, is he even still alive behind those walls? Or was that leaked hospital photo the real goodbye forever? The floorboard secret is uploading as we speak, and the names on that list will destroy careers. You need to subscribe right now and hit that notification bell because our next update is going to name the mogul caught on those Utah tapes. Don't be the last to know. Drop a free top or justice in the comments below and let the world know where you stand. The clock is ticking. We'll see you in the next explosive update.